Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'm very excited today to tell you about a unique opportunity we have in Omaha that will fuel affordable housing development using streetcar revenue a lot sooner than initially planned, as soon as 2026. A private funder is prepared to purchase $40 million in bonds for Front Porch Investments. They would use it to distribute as funding that incentivizes affordable housing development and preservation in the urban core. To make this happen, we'll need to amend the urban core housing and mobility redevelopment plan, and I'm confident our city council will do that later this fall. The amendment leverages additional bond funds that can be purchased for the urban core housing and mobility development. This plan provides the justification for the use of tax increment financing, or TIF, to pay for the Omaha streetcar, in addition to affordable housing and other mobility improvements. As a reminder, the streetcar project is more than fully funded by projected TIF revenue. This public-private affordable housing partnership will greatly benefit the city's residents, and this is a little personal for me because my parents weren't able to buy our first home until I was 15 years of age and a sophomore in high school. So I understand the importance of affordable housing and what it means for families when it comes to providing stability for their families and their children, as well as an opportunity to begin to build generational wealth. By partnering with Front Porch Investments to incentivize affordable housing development, we will begin to address a critical shortage in Omaha's urban core. We have the opportunity to ensure that families can meet their basic needs while setting them on a course toward financial stability. I'm so excited we'll be able to do it at this scale and at this time. And I would like to introduce Jody Holston, Executive Director of Front Porch Investments, to share thoughts with you as well.
So we are so excited to be here today with Mayor Ewing to announce a proposed plan to enable the use of $40 million in bonds to kickstart the development and preservation of affordable housing in the urban core. Front Porch Investments is proud to be a part of this opportunity. We're uniquely positioned to partner on this effort. For the past 4 years, Front Porch Investments has been actively connecting, coordinating, catalyzing efforts to help close the affordable housing gap in the metro. We support affordable housing by awarding grants for innovative housing ideas and research, distributing funds to developers to build and preserve affordable housing, investing funds in formerly redlined areas to promote homeownership and prevent displacement, and advocating for public policies and investments that promote affordable housing and housing justice. This opportunity directly aligns with our goals. The $40 million in bond proceeds will support affordable housing projects in Omaha's urban core without needing to wait another 5 years or more for revenue from the TIF district. This would allow affordable housing production to occur now in lockstep with other development, ensuring that the urban core can remain affordable for residents of all income levels. Front Porch Investments will distribute this funding to incentivize developers to build affordable housing units in the urban core as soon as 2026, making significant progress towards the city's affordable housing goals for that area. The bond funding will be distributed in the urban core area, spanning over 770 blocks, bounded by Cumming Street on the north, Woolworth Avenue on the south, and the Missouri River to 50th Avenue on the west. The cost of building any type of housing continues to increase due to construction costs, labor, interest rates, insurance, Without gap financing, most developers can't afford to include deeply affordable or workforce units in their plans, especially in areas where land and building costs are higher. These funds will provide the needed financing to make building and preserving affordable units possible. This opportunity will help address the growing needs of our community by increasing the supply of affordable housing. Affordable housing generates a range of positive impacts for residents and the community, such as housing stability, better health and well-being for residents, increased financial security, enhanced educational outcomes, and stronger attraction and retention of workers. Front Porch Investments has deep expertise in affordable housing. Our Development and Preservation Fund has already financed affordable housing projects in Douglas and Sarpy County, as well as Council Bluffs, for multiple years. As of July of 2025, our Development and Preservation Fund has funded over 2,300 homes across the metro, including rental, homeownership, and mixed-use developments, 1,690 of which are affordable. This opportunity continues our successful partnership with the City of Omaha. In 2022, we worked with the city to distribute $20 million in ARPA funds, matched by $20 million in funds from funders to fund projects like affordable housing, workforce for sale housing, and mixed-use developments. Alongside public, private, and philanthropic partners, Front Porch is making it possible for more people to live and stay in communities across the metro. Our experienced team is ready to support developers in building, acquiring, and rehabilitating affordable housing and transforming our city. We are so thankful for this opportunity and to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. Again, we are thrilled to be able to announce this opportunity to you today. And we are currently hard at work finalizing the details, but Jody and my Deputy Chief of Staff for Economic Development, Steve Jensen, and I are here to help answer any questions you might have.
What does affordable housing mean to you?
Sure. For me, it means the opportunity for people to be able to afford a decent, safe place to live. Generally, that's based on spending no more than about 30% of their gross income on housing.
When we're talking about how the actual cost of these type of homes, what are they going to be?
I don't know what the exact cost will be on any particular house. What we're going to be looking at doing is providing gap financing and other incentives that will allow them to reduce the cost of building homes and apartment buildings.
Can somebody explain how we use streetcar revenues? Can you explain that to me?
Sure. I will take a stab at it and then we'll have Steve address it as well. One of the things that people have to understand about the streetcar is that it will lead to an incredible amount of development. We're estimating now about $4 billion. As that property becomes taxed, then that incremental increase will continue to go to pay off the bonds for the streetcar, as well as provide additional revenue that can be used for affordable housing and mobility projects as well.
Yeah, Mayor did a good job of explaining the basic numbers. Again, over $4 billion worth of development in the corridor is what we project right now. That'll probably produce almost $1 billion, around $980 million in TIF revenue that can go toward the streetcar, affordable housing, bikeways, other mobility improvements. The streetcar itself has been capped at $440 million, so can't go over $440 million. This effort would, and the amendment to the plan would allow for another $50 million or up to $490 million to be able to be spent on, again, affordable housing, bikeways, and other things. The initial amount is this $40 million that we were talking about for affordable housing. So there's some additional money that could, if it was authorized by the council down the road, go to other improvements, bikeways, and so forth. So right now, the $980 million could support probably $550 million in bonds. or about 110 million more than what we will spend on the streetcar. So this is an initial amount above the streetcar for 40 million for affordable housing.
So these are projected dollars.
They are projected dollars. However, we're running well ahead of our projections in terms of the amount of development that we have so far in the corridor. We have about 1.4 billion in existing projects that are in the pipeline and being built today or have been built over the last couple of years. So in about the first 3 years, we're well on our way toward the 4 billion that we anticipate seeing in the corridor. So basically, we update that model every time a new project comes in, and right now our finance department feels very comfortable with the 4 billion projection.
Even with the way things are in Washington DC financially at this point, with the ups and downs and the tariffs and the ins and outs, and we're doing this and we're not gonna do that?
Well, I think what we have built into the model is is really a very conservative projection, and so it is expecting that there will be, excuse me, that there will be ups and downs in the economy over time, but we're not projecting a very aggressive estimate for the future development. Plus, I think, you know, by staying at this 490 million number, that's well below the 550. So we're being conservative in our projections in terms of total development. We're also being conservative in terms of what we are allowing to be bonded.
Connected with that, I'm sure this is your question, what about supply line issues? You wanna
Sure.
address that? I don't.
We
Can
have,
you look to the podium, please?
I got you.
Thank you.
yeah, we work really closely with a lot of developers across the metro and have a pretty healthy pipeline of projects that are ready to go. As of today, I believe we have over 22 projects in the pipeline applying for funding. So we have a strong development community here in Omaha and an interest in moving affordable housing forward.
Okay, but having it here is one thing, but
Mhm.
where are you gonna get lumber from? Where are you gonna get all your products from? Where are you gonna get copper from? How's that gonna work? The way that things are going with the up and down tariff, no tariff, that kind of stuff.
Sure. Yeah, there's certainly are a lot of challenges that developers are facing, but up to this point, we've continued to see development happen regardless of some of those challenges.
Is this where that gap financing comes in to help?
The gap financing is what helps them incorporate affordable and workforce units into the project by lowering the total project costs. So we offer interest rates at 2 to 4% interest that helps reduce the overall project cost while keeping it affordable. So in addition to that, we restrict the property to a certain income level for 20 years. So any project that's funded is not only affordable today, but it's affordable for 20 years into the future.
And what's that income level?
There are various income levels. We support both affordable housing and workforce housing. So affordable housing is usually within 30 to 80% of area median income. And then workforce housing is about that 80 to 120% of area median income, so of the average income. So projects vary, but right now about 85% of the projects that we funded include affordable and deeply affordable units.
Jody, would these units be just affordable, or would these be affordable and workforce that you see?
Affordable and workforce are both eligible.
And, I mean, you have a current $40 million development fund, it's a revolving loan fund. Do you anticipate that's how the majority of these funds would be used as well as a revolving loan fund?
We're still working out some of the details with this specific fund, but it would definitely work alongside our current development and preservation fund.
How many units do you think you can build with this money?
We're still working on some of those numbers. Based on what our current numbers are, we've invested about 35 million so far and have supported 1,600 affordable units. So we're hoping to see development along those same lines.
Yeah, with your current fund, you've been able to produce about 800 affordable units a year, or 800 units a year by the numbers that you laid
Mhm.
out. So you think you can produce hundreds of units a year with this funding?
Yeah, absolutely.
Another mechanical question, so we have a donor that's gonna buy these bonds, I assume the donor then will be paid back on that investment through the TIF, as the TIF revenues come in, we'll fund those bonds the same way they fund the streetcar bonds. Are those gonna be zero interest bonds, low interest bonds, and do you know what the payment period on that's gonna be?
Do you have some of those details?
Again, some of those details are still being worked on. but we anticipate they'll be at a low interest rate. And yes, they'll be paid the same as what we would be doing for the streetcar bonds. They'd be paid over time, over a 15-year period, starting around 2032, I think, or someplace in that range. So again, the details will come out later when we bring that actual issuance forward to the council.
Are these all apartment units, single-family homes, mixture of both?
Yeah, so all of those are eligible uses. So right now we support both rental and home ownership in any various typology, right? So from single family homes to townhomes to apartments. So any of those are eligible uses.
And when you say for the developer, you keep the interest, rate low, for somebody that wants to buy, would that interest rate be low for the individual, like, homeowner if they want to buy?
That would be through their own mortgage. So the interest rate on the developer side is to help subsidize the total cost of the house and bring the house down for home ownership projects, or the total cost down for home ownership. But we have worked with several local agencies to help individuals get loans through some of the home ownership projects that were issued.
This project doesn't include North Omaha?
The urban core area, this particular fund are those boundaries that we discussed earlier. And then we also have a development and preservation fund that serves the entire metro area. So we're able to balance serving projects across the metro. Yep.
Once these bonds are issued and they have gone through the process, then we will be able to expand this further north and south into the broader urban core area as well.
So these are within that urban core area related to the streetcar, so it's not.
Yes, that's when they are initially issued. As they're turned over, then they will be able to go into areas further north and south.
So I know we talked about the numbers, so do you have an estimate specifically for this $40 million? Is you're saying that it would be the same as the current fund that Front Porch has, so about 1,600 units? Is that about correct for the 40 million?
That's the estimate we have
I
now,
don't know
yes.
if that $40 million fund has been expended, it's revolving, if it's the same model, but I'd like to get a little closer estimate on how much this city portion might, result in.
Sure.
And if you have a mix of ownership versus rental?
Yes, the actual mix will depend on the projects that are actually funded. What we are looking to do is make funding available so that we can provide decent, affordable homes for people. So there will be a mix based on the projects that are brought forward and what Front Porch actually funds with the developers. But we do expect that to be somewhere around the 1,600 houses that have been built with the first 40 million that they've had.
Is there an idea of the breakdown between regular home that would be ownership and then rentals?
We won't know that until the bonds are actually sold and then actually when the developers bring projects forward. The goal is to increase home ownership, obviously, but there's also a need for affordable rental units.
And those rental units, would they be available for people to buy that are, we'll call them absentee ownership from other parts of the country, for example?
I think it depends on how each of those projects is structured, where there might be an opportunity to move from renting to purchase. But that depends on how the project is structured.
Yeah.
We're not here today to say we're going to have this project structured this way and this project structured that way. That is what Front Porch will do as they're partnering with developers. They're the experts. They're the ones that are going to help us make this happen.
None of these rentals would be city run.
Say that again.
None of these rental properties would be city run at this point.
None of them are going to be city projects. We're just providing the opportunity for the funding to make it happen. And with this project that we're doing now, we're going to actually make it happen about 5 or 6 years sooner rather than waiting for TIF revenue to come in and then start the projects. We believe this is a critical enough issue in the city of Omaha that we need to start now. So we're going to do everything we can to start in 2026.
Curious to know, affordable housing has always been a priority, and this, plan is possible. Maybe Steve could take this question too. Why wasn't it, part of the plan earlier? Why was it 6 years or beyond before?
Yeah, so the reason that we're talking about this today is that what the first step in this process is to amend that urban core housing and mobility redevelopment plan. What that plan did initially was it talked about the streetcar, but it also talked about affordable housing and bikeways and other mobility improvements. The only project that was allowed, or I guess I should say was allowed to be funded from that initial plan was the streetcar. And so we knew that the streetcar would generate additional development that would then generate more money, and we would in the future be able to use that money for affordable housing and bikeways. But those projects were not specifically listed as projects in that original plan. So it was sort of a step-by-step process. First the streetcar, and then once we felt comfortable that we had the money coming in, that we could take the next step, then affordable housing was the next step. So what is going to the planning board is an amendment to that original plan that now adds the project of affordable housing and a project for bikeways and mobility improvements as eligible projects to be funded. And we have a donor who stepped forward to work with Front Porch for this initial affordable housing project. So that'll be the first one that will go to the council for an issuance of bonds to make that happen.
So what is new, the person stepping forward at this point?
Both. It is both the ability now to project the amount of revenue that we're getting and the confidence that we can afford this additional bond capacity. And so it's a combination of that plus the fact that in order to issue those bonds, we have to have the authority to do that. Amending that plan gives us the authority to do that.
Steve, I was still a little confused, because, I mean, it was called the Urban Core,
Housing and mobility.
Plan, so it seems like housing was part of it from the beginning, but you're saying is it was, so that was in the name, but you're saying is it was originally approved by the council, it only included authorizing the funding for the streetcar?
Correct. So from the standpoint of the plan talks about all the things we could do, but the only thing that was specifically listed as a project initially was the streetcar. So that was the only thing we could go to the council and ask for authority to issue bonds was for the streetcar. Now that as I said, now that we have projections showing additional revenue and we're confident we can support additional bonds, now we can then add these projects to the plan, and so that's what the amendment is about. And then that then allows us to go to the council and ask them for the ability to issue those bonds.
Is there a percentage that you can put on this donor as far as the whole amount? Like 50%, 10%?
In terms of the whole projected
Yeah.
revenue amount?
You know, the cost, 40 million, is the donor part of that 40 million?
Correct. The donor is the
Can
one.
you put a percentage on that, 50%, 20%?
I'm not sure I
Of the
understand.
amount,
Uh-huh.
the 40 million, is he putting in 20 million, is he putting in 10, a percentage maybe?
No, that donor is purchasing $40 million
Okay,
in bonds.
So the donor is taking care of all the bonds.
Right, and then they will be repaid out of the TIF revenue.
One more question, sorry. Just to clarify, Steve, you were talking about now we have the confidence. Well, where was the confidence before then that funding was going to be coming through? It seemed like the confidence was stated years ago that revenue would be coming through.
Well, sure,
I'm trying to understand that.
Sure, we had the plan originally because we were very certain that we would have the money. What I'm saying is we didn't want to take a step and say, we'll authorize issuing bonds for a large amount when we had projections, but we did not have the numbers that we have today. So now that we have the 1.4 billion in development that's underway, it just gives us that much more confidence in terms of how much revenue we're going to get. The other part of confidence is that at that beginning stage, we had authorization for the council to spend up to 440 million in bonds for the streetcar, but we did not have yet the confidence that we knew exactly what the streetcar was going to cost. And so, as the mayor said in the press conference a couple of weeks ago, we're now at 421 million. We're very confident that we'll be able to stay under that 440 million. So we wanted to do this incrementally to make sure that we weren't doing anything that would be not possible, that couldn't be funded. And so every step along the way, we've been exceeding our expectations, and that then gives us more confidence to take the next step. And obviously, we have a bond purchaser who also has that same confidence that we're going to see that revenue coming through. Sure, sorry.
The other part of this is the approach that we are taking. We are taking a fiscally conservative approach, as was mentioned earlier. So we believe there will be significantly more money available for affordable housing, but we're going to take it a step at a time. And as revenue projections increase, as the actual building increases, then we will come back to the city council for additional approvals to do more with affordable housing, more with mobility and bike routes and things of that nature. So this will be an incremental process as things develop, so that we are always being fiscally responsible and giving the council a very clear picture of what is actually happening. So that is part of this process. And as we looked at it, as we had discussions since I've been mayor, we feel very confident in the numbers we're sharing with people today.
What happens if those projections are not met? What happens if the projections are wrong?
I have a great deal of confidence in the people who are looking at this. I believe it's a fiscally conservative estimate. So I believe, quite honestly, that it's not a matter of will we not meet the projections. The question really is, how much more will we exceed them by? So we have a great deal of confidence in this project overall and the revenue that will be available for the affordable housing and the mobility projects as well.
Maybe one more, everybody.
I know you mentioned that these developments will not be city-run, but just this week and over the past few weeks, we've seen a large apartment complex be shut down and every resident in there be forced to find new housing. Will the city be taking steps to ensure that a situation like that does not occur again with any of these new developments?
I don't know that we can ever ensure that it doesn't occur. What we did was we partnered with the philanthropic community and some of our nonprofits to make sure all of those who had to be relocated from City View have an opportunity for decent, affordable housing. So we took some very proactive steps to assure that people of Omaha weren't living in the conditions we saw in City View. We are also having discussions about making sure that we develop a plan long term, so if something were to happen, we could have a plan of action.
If you're bringing more people to the urban core, where do we stand on a grocery store downtown?
Well, that is one of the things we just had a discussion about in our last meeting, and we're going to get a grocery store downtown. We just have to figure out the location, and we have to figure out who wants to partner with us to make that happen. But that is one of our highest priorities for the residents of downtown.